はい、皆さんこんにちは。今日はヒロコじゃなくてですね、私ブルース池水がです、JBMA 現地レポートということで、ワシントン DC、それからロンドン、上海に続きましてですね、今日はシンガポールの友人からシンガポールの現地の状況ですね、このコロナウイルス、それからゴールドのマーケット、シンガポール、それからサウスイーストエイジア、東南アジアのですね、マーケットの専門家をお呼びしてますので、その話を聞いていきたいと思います。Okay, hello.
Hi.
Yes, Mr. Albert Chen is our guest today. He is CEO of Singapore Bullion Market Association. Hi, Albert.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our program. It's good to speak to you here on the video. Hopefully we can see each other pretty soon, but at the moment the virus really prevents us to meeting directly. Could you please explain a little bit about yourself first?
Thank you, Bruce. I am the CEO of the Singapore Bullion Market Association. Before that, I was working for the World Council for the past 24 years. And before that, I was the sales manager for the Royal Canadian Mint, selling maple leaf in the region, including Japan. So that was the time when I have made friends with many of my Japanese counterparts in those days, and then later on carry on to the World Council Day. So really today I'm as you can see the setting, I'm at home, and everybody is now homebound, what we call lockdown. And in Southeast Asia, we have most of the country under this situation. Maybe some of them are a little bit more relaxed, but the large country and the more developed part country are all in lockdown mode. Just because of the coronavirus is actually have a great impact to both our daily life and our economic life.
Yeah, I think Singapore has been locked down like a week ago.
It's exactly 1 week. We started in April, early April the 7th, and we have to carry on for 4 weeks. So it will be relaxed only in early May the 4th.
Right. But you don't know. I mean, it could be extended, right?
It could be extended. It depends on how much we can contain it. I think you might read from the news that in the last couple of days, there was a surge in the number of cases.
Right.
That was because of the lots of affected or infected patients from the working dormitory. You know, in Singapore, there is a lot of overseas workers in Singapore, and they live in dormitory. And once the virus spread in the dormitory, it spread very fast. So that's why yesterday we have almost 300 cases. So I hope this situation will improve. Similarly, we see Malaysia as well as Indonesia also in a very critical situation. Cases is surging every day, and now they have over 4,000 cases in both Indonesia and Malaysia. And so is Philippines. So these are the countries which has impacted most. But I think with collectively now most of the ASEAN country has locked down the country. Hopefully in maybe 4 to 6 weeks time, the situation will improve, and then the government will start to relax, and hopefully economic activity will gradually relax, and then we can go out, do what we need to do. Now I kept at home, cook lunch, cook dinner, and then work a little bit, conference call and video call. That's how we now conduct our business.
Right. Is it compulsory to stay at home in Singapore?
Yes, in Singapore, it is compulsory unless you go out to buy food or you go out to do exercise. But you are not able to do exercise with your friend. You must do it by yourself,
Right.
or only with people living with you.
Right.
If they found that you are exercising with your friends who are not living with you, both of you will be fined. And the first penalty ticket is $600.
Wow, that's very serious. So nobody is working at office now?
Unless you are working in the essential service, meaning that you are providing the necessity for everybody. Like you are in the food business, you're in the logistic business. Like in our industry, the retail sector is not allowed to open. But refinery, luckily the refinery, which is the only one in Singapore, the Metro refinery, is allowed to open. But again, they are subject to workers. And some of the workers are workers from Malaysia. So there has a problem of transferring workers from Malaysia in Singapore. So they have to live in Singapore. So that creates another set of problems. And then for security company like Brinks, who transport valuable and transport including gold, they are allowed to operate.
So logistics.
And retail shops are not allowed to open. Banks are allowed to open. Banks is an essential service.
Okay.
So that means that the wholesale market is still operating. The interbank market is open.
Okay, I see. Japan situation is similar, but it's quite still very kind of voluntary. It's not compulsory. So I would say like 40-50% of people are going to office by train. So that's worried me a lot. But somehow the Japanese government cannot really force the people to stay at home. They are begging for people to stay at home. Say like in a couple of weeks' time. Like today, Tokyo had like 160 people new infected the people. So it's quite a severe situation. All right, I hope, because I was going to attend SBMA conference again this year, but it was postponed to the next year.
Yes.
Hopefully situation got better next year.
We have already earmarked next year. In early June, we'll do the same conference. And talking about conference, I think most of the conference are being postponed to later part of the year or next year. Even, the most famous LBMA conference in our industry in October, they are now already canceled because they don't want to take the risk. And just yesterday, I heard that the China Gold Congress, which is going to happen in July in Beijing, is also going to postpone to an indefinite day. They have not fixed a day. So I think pretty much this year, all the conferences may have to cancel.
Exactly.
If we're looking at LBMA, which is in October, have already canceled. So there's not many left behind. So hopefully we can see each other in the later part of the year, like November, December in conferences.
Okay, good. All right, so let's move on to a gold market. Of course, this coronavirus is affecting the market quite very significant way, I guess. How about the gold market in Singapore and also Asian countries? Okay.
Before I move on to talk a little in detail, I'd like to introduce our quarterly magazine, which is the Crucible. We have published that last week, and we have quickly in 2 weeks' time put together a focus on the coronavirus impact on the gold market. And I I have a couple of writers talk about various parts of the world. And so I hope if you are interested to find out more, try to come to our website, sbma.org.sg. You can download this publication.
Okay, good. This,
yeah, and
we will introduce this into our website and to the Japanese investors. Very good.
Yes. Okay. Then let's start with Singapore. I have spoken with quite a number of operators in Singapore. We can separate the market into so-called retail and also the interbank wholesale market. I would say that the retail market is completely closed for physical, but you can still do online trading. They still allow you to trade, and they also have bid and ask price all the time. And but if you have to buy physical, provided they are physical, you can book, but take delivery maybe after the lockdown period.
Right.
And,
you can even trade, but you cannot take deliveries at the moment.
Cannot take delivery.
Maybe later days.
Yeah, and but even though they are allowed to do it, but because of the last 3-4 weeks of heavy buying, most of the inventory has been depleted. And as you know, the flight between different countries is already kind of cancelled. So there are very limited flight between countries to transport this gold product. So the inventory is very low. So basically, people are not able to buy. That's why we have seen in the last few weeks that the premium of the retail product has increased substantially. Normally, for example, a 1 ounce gold coin, you may buy it at 4 to 5% premium in Singapore, but now it might have to be 7, 8, or even some of them 10%. Really? And for 100 gram bar, normally you can buy it at 2% or 3%. And recently you have to buy at 5-6%. So, I mean, in comparison to Japan, because you have a consumption tax, so you feel that this is still affordable, but Singapore don't have a tax, so this is already a burden to the investor.
Right.
Yeah, but the wholesale market, the interbank market, is still operating. But I have spoken with quite a number of bankers and bullion dealers. They say they are very stressful because in the past when they have to close a deal, it's very easy because they know how much is the refinery charge, how much is transportation charge, when I can get the product and when I can finish it at the refinery and deliver.
Right.
But now every step of it, they have to negotiate. They have to negotiate whether the brings will give them the exact time of the transportation. Then they have to negotiate with refinery whether they have time to refine their product, and then the bank has to then make sure that they can deliver on time to the customer. So now every transaction is stressful. So even though the business as usual, but it's not as easy as what they used to be. And also most of them has to work from home, so the supporting service is not as good as in the office. Although they can remotely control or access to the system, but it's still there are some issue here and there. So it's stressful, but luckily that Singapore remain open on the wholesale market.
Well, I think that's the point that you pointed out. I mean, logistics or liquidities and everything. I think that's the major reason that we are now seeing like spot local London market. I mean, the imparity between local London and COMEX, the premium of the COMEX is such huge, like $60 UFPs at the moment. Yeah. I think everyone, basically, I mean, in a normal market, I mean, $60 between local London COMEX is a very much free profit. But nobody's really sure if they can really do the arbitrage. So I think that's basically the same everywhere. So the stress over this market is quite huge at the moment.
I think this is a structural issue in our gold market, which we might want as a collective. I mean, SBMA, JBMA, and maybe some of the related trade bodies look into revamping the whole clearing delivery system of the gold market, particularly on the future market and the physical market and OTC market. Currently, we are still using a system which has been built for purpose 100 years ago. And now in today's world, with so much changes in customer behavior and also the way of conducting business, I think collectively, trade associations like ourselves, JBMA, SBMA, and even LBMA should look into revamping the whole of the clearing and delivery system. But this is besides today's point. I mean, we might have to go into too much details. But I think this is something that after the crisis, we need to sit down and look at how to improve it.
Right, exactly. If we could survive this crisis.
I mean, then we look into other countries in Asia, in ASEAN country. I know Malaysia is totally closed down like Singapore, and retail jewelry store can open. I heard that some manufacturing are still operating, but very limited. And I also spoken with some Vietnam gold trader. Retail shop, jewelry shop closed, but bank remain open. Also, some bullion shop remain open. And you don't need to go and take delivery. If you buy gold bar in Vietnam, they'll deliver to your home. I mean, they have that service. But the problem is because of the closing down of the supply system, so the premium in Vietnam is very high. And I just understand that yesterday they might be quoting $150 US per tael,
really?
which is equivalent to about $120 per ounce. And so that shows there are so much difficulty in getting physical into Vietnam. So those are the point. And elsewhere in Thailand is operating smoothly, and because the country is not totally locked down, they only have curfew at night, but daytime the business is continuing. And I just spoken with one of the big dealer there. They say the business, they are very busy, and there is a lot of downstream investor and sub-distributor still buying and selling gold heavily. So Thailand seems to be business as usual, even though in this situation. But they are also struggling because they are unable to get supply properly. And so they have to squeeze here and there. So it creates another set of problems for them. Same thing, Indonesia, there are still some scrap metal coming out into Singapore for refinery. But because there's a limited fight between Indonesia and Singapore, so it also have to time properly, and also people are also very anxious because it's not as usual. So they were afraid that suddenly the country closed down, they might not get the metal out, or they cannot get the metal in, and they cannot get the money. All these things create a lot of anxiety, and that reflected in the price. So the price is not normal.
I see. Well, it looks like very distorted market at the moment. I hear like China, both and India, both countries are very much discounted market. Like China today, I read the commentary about like $50 discount. India more or less the same. I mean, and as you say, in some countries in Southeast Asia, like Vietnam commanding such a huge premium. This has never happened before. I think it's really, I don't know, country by country, it's different situation.
Correct. Yeah, in China, you might heard that they have some of the city has start resuming the business and the shopping mall reopen. But I've spoken with some of the trader in China and the tourism retailer. They say, yes, some shopping malls are open, but there are very little footfall. And some malls have remained closed. And even though the malls are open, a lot of people are very cautious. They don't actually have the mood to shop. So they see that the sales, even though with shops opening, the sales is easily only 20-30% of the previous normal period. So
this slide is the Chinese jewelry shop.
Yeah, this you see that it's quite empty. Some of these are actually wholesale venue where they open up this kind of so-called shopping gallery for retailer to come and pick up. This is more like a wholesale center, and there are not many people. I mean, ordinary this time of the year, which is before the May long holiday, people start to stock up, but you don't see people doing that.
Wow.
And I think the jewelry sector is in deep winter, even though now it's in summer, but it's going to be in summer. But I think the winter come early. And I think the whole of the 2020, it will be very miserable for the jewelry industry. But in the investment side, I think because of the crazy financial market, I think the investment side probably will have a lot of interest.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, with this quantitative easing everywhere in the world, I think gold has very good potential to go up. Even like $2,000 per ounce. Yeah. Jewelry would be dead. Yeah, as you say, it's really the winter. I mean, people are not in the mood to buy the jewelry. Currently. But I think the investors, funds, central banks, they all going to really rush into gold, I think. Correct.
Yeah. I think with so much money printed for this purpose, I think a lot of we already seen a lot of people who are not in the bullion circle start looking into the gold market, or even themselves coming out and do talks about investing in gold, which is quite extraordinary.
Right.
Because I see fund manager talking about investing in gold. So this kind of so-called early signal tell us that people are really looking into diversifying and also looking for hard asset.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately gold is always a choice for them at this moment.
Totally agree. I mean, there's too much cash, too much money printed in this world at the moment. I mean, of course, I understand to try to tackle with this virus, but still, central bankers at the moment is not really thinking about, the distant future. They just think now to support the market, and which is understandable, but inevitably it will bring gold to go up much higher. Okay, good. So thank you very much, Albert. Maybe finally, at the final stage, which you can explain about this Singapore Bullion Market Association.
Okay, thank you. Singapore Bullion Market Association is a trade association for the bullion industry for ASEAN market or Southeast Asian market. the main purpose of it is to connect the Southeast Asian market with the global market, and likewise, to help the global market to connect to Southeast Asian market. We believe that the ASEAN group collectively is the third largest market in the world, followed by India, China, India, and then Southeast Asian market, which because of the 10 countries are quite diverse. So the SBMA is trying to help to bring them together as a collective body to face the world. So what we did is in the last few years, we have organized conferences to bring people together, bring the Southeast Asia people together with the global market. And it was quite successful. Unfortunately, this year, we are not able to do it in June, and hopefully we can do it in next year. And our structure is very similar to LBMA. I mean, it's corporate members only, and we don't have individual members. And the corporate member, we currently have 45, basically the Singapore and the region. And we do have other people in beyond Asia. And there are banks, majority of the bank, bullion houses, refinery, as well as security, courier, and local retail OTC market player. So we hope that together with other associations, like we are very working closely with LBMA, and likewise, I'm also trying to work together with you guys in Japan, so that we as a collective trade body, we need to look into how we can collectively improve the infrastructures for the gold market, particularly the problem we just talked earlier on. And we welcome more Japanese trade members to come to study Southeast Asian market and use SBMA as a stepping stone or as a helping hand, or as facilitator for any people who want to understand the Southeast Asian market.
That's great. Okay, thank you very much. We hope
thank you.
Cooperate much more in the future for the market. Yes. Yeah. Okay, today, thank you very much, Albert. We do appreciate your presentation, and hopefully Japanese investors will look into the SBMA and also the Southeastern Asian gold market. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Stay healthy. Stay safe.
Yes. Stay home.
Stay home.
Yeah.